Oh, welcome back. This was in response to Joshua 6:25, essentially where he spares Rahab the prostitute, as it's written, because she hid the men that he sent as spies, and she lives amongst the Israelites to this day. That also parallels with this idea in another section that I was reading where I think it was John the Baptist possibly saying that just because you're children of Abraham doesn't mean that you're more worthy than anyone else. God can make children of Abraham out of stones, and I'm sure stones mean something else, but it's the idea that perhaps you weren't necessarily born into the lineage, but I think there might be more to that with Rahab. Perhaps you can win God's favour by doing what is perceived to be the right thing and then become part of the family, the tribe, etc. So we mostly have a lot of green here. There's sort of like two golden swirls, which I guess makes the figure of 8, which relates to infinity, although the top one is smaller than the bottom. Beneath the larger circle, there's this sort of, I don't know, it's a bit like an exploded head out of a bird with its wings outstretched. I really like the effect of it. The top bit looks a bit like a really sleepy head. So is that sort of the unconscious attached to the conscious mind, perhaps? If that is the case, what's interesting here is that the circle of the conscious mind is bigger than the unconscious, and you would expect that to be the other way around, I think, usually. There's lots of squiggles at the top left, which I kind of do almost see as a head with like a feathered headdress. And inside the larger circle, which is almost like a TV screen, on the far left, there's a bit that looks like a bear head, possibly turned to the left. There's beneath that T3 and some other symbols. That's that bit at the bottom turned upside down, where it ended up looking like a wolf head. Now, I'm sure I've looked at Rahab before, so it wasn't necessarily about her. It's just that was the passage in Joshua that I was interested in, because I'd actually had a dream, which was quite funny. I met with somebody I know called Josh, who I haven't seen for ages, and we actually went on 2 dates, which was quite funny, because in the dream I was like, I shouldn't really be dating this guy. I'm actually with someone else. I'm not. So then I was trying to make excuses for why I couldn't see him again, and then he kissed me, and I was like, I didn't really ask for that, and he wasn't a very good kisser, and I'm like, oh my god, what do I say? I think in real life I would have punched him for an unwelcome kiss. But anyway, I woke up thinking maybe there's some reference there to something in the book. There's probably a passage to do with kissing that I need to look at. I know there's references to Mary Magdalene as the one that he kissed on the mouth, referring to Jesus. Never really goes into whether or not she wanted that kiss, does it? And I'm sure that's symbolic of something else. Anyway, thanks for listening. I will hopefully upload poems later. But as I said before, I'm slowing down with the images, so I may have 1 or 2 to post over the coming days, but it would be a lot less. Thanks for listening.